Good evening, and welcome to Total Party Recap, TPK Roleplay's content recap and talk show. My name is Tyrant, and I am one of two hosts for the show tonight. Joining me is Turk, your second host, and our very special guest, Proper. Unfortunately, Heck was not able to make it tonight, and we will miss her, but she will be back very soon. For all of our first-time viewers and listeners, let's go around the table really quick and introduce ourselves, starting with Turk.
Hello, everyone. I am, of course, Turk, or Turk accented, depending on which social medias you prefer to use. I am a player, GM, and general hanger-oner to all things TPK. And I'm very excited to be able to talk about everything that happened this week. I think it was a fantastic week to hold on, and I'm seeing chats finally noticing our memoriam to a beloved magical creature. Thank you, Robert, for giving us that idea to traumatize them, because that's what this week's all about: traumatizing our audience with very sad and emotionally impactful scenes. And no one
Accurate.
and no one feels that better than the players, of course, who are on screen. And we're very excited to have Proper on because he was in some absolute bangers of sessions. And I'm really excited to hear his thoughts on that. So
I guess that brings it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cornelia's a little quiet.
My name is Proper or ProperNerdy or Nick, whichever you prefer. The one place that I am not ProperNerdy is on Twitch because it won't let me change my name, and it makes me so upset. I've tried every month for the last year, but I'm Proper_Nerdy. Close enough, right? I'm a TPK staff member. I make lots of pretty pictures, including the video you just saw, and what else do? I do a lot of fun overlays and promo images and whatnot with Lukaluk, the real legit designer for TPK Roleplay. Other than that, I am part of Harper's and and Roundhouse, a bunch of other shows and a bunch of one-shots. So I'll be talking about those two experiences this week, but there were some rough shows this week.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna need you to
rough in the best way possible.
I'm gonna need you to roll that back. How are you not also real in the chat?
I mean, she is the OG.
Sure.
She is the designer for TPK Roleplay, and I am the assistant to the designer.
Did you assist her on this intro?
She'll let me know my title.
Did you assist her on making that intro, or did you make that intro?
She's still far better at it than I am, so
it's not.
I'll get excited about. I'll get excited about how fucking awesome the new Queen's Gambit logo is, which I will never bow down for that one. But other than that, she's usually better than me. But I'm also here and I make lots of pretty things, and I hope you guys appreciate me. But I think that brings it over to Tyrant.
Cornelia first. Welcome to the show, Cornelia. We are very happy to have you. And I know you're a little shy, so I won't keep you for too long, but thanks for coming on the show. What's that?
Tarlo
killed you. It's Cornelia's corpse. Got it. Okay. So we will ignore that for now. And we will also agree to disagree and say that, very simply, design team, best team.
Something like that.
And once again, I am Tyrant, GM, staff member, host, and apparently now a variety streamer, and which is still weird for me to say. So I'm going to need to change my intros and everything to reflect that. And you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Dr. Tyrant. Really quickly, a little background on Total Party Recap. The show is designed with the busy viewer in mind. We understand that not everyone has the time to consume all of TPK's content, so we are hoping the show will be an answer to that need. We will be recapping and talking about each stream and event that happens at TPK every Sunday at 5 PM PST, 8 PM EST. I think this will be the good time to do the last bit of announcements. Then I can delete this from form here. A couple of announcements really quick. First off, the channel point redeem, for those of you who have not been here for the last few episodes, the channel point redeem that makes us talk in funny ways when we recap our things has been moved over to a donation reward level. Currently, we have 2 donation reward levels, $5 and $10. $5 for one of us to write you a limerick or a haiku or something like that, and $10 for us to recap in those good silly ways. So
Really bring my acting skills to the forefront of this episode. If one of you want to be really kind and donate.
Yeah,
Yes,
dude, go for it. Oh,
I went to school for 4 years for theater.
hell
This
yes.
is where it's
the
all,
theater.
all coming to fruition now.
And now you're and now we're begging for tenors so we can do funny voices.
You know, you take work where you can get it.
Exactly. I love
Also, second announcement for those of you who haven't heard and who haven't been here for probably every single episode here on TPK for the last couple of weeks, we are now affiliates for Found Familiar Coffee. If you scroll down or look in chat at the link that is going to be posted very soon, you can click on the link either in chat or down on our panels here under the sponsor panel. Please click on that link and don't navigate there yourself, because it lets them know that you're coming from us. And if you want to see more of this kind of stuff in the future, we need those logistics. So click on that link, check out all their stuff. It's all TTRPG inspired merchandise and coffee and stuff like that. If you want to buy something, use discount code TPK, that's capital TPK, no spaces, at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order. Fantastic company, fantastic product.
really good gift
check it out.
ideas.
Seriously.
It'll work out great because you can drink the caffeinated coffee in the morning, so you can watch things like Dark Echoes or Murder in Coffee, and then you drink the decaffeinated coffee in the evening to watch the shows like this one, where you get to go to bed at 11 instead of 2 a.m.
Or later, depending on the Bards of Frayne timeline.
Or instead, you drink your light roast and blends in the morning, and then you drink your dark roast at night, so that you still drink caffeinated coffee, just not as caffeinated coffee.
Alternatively, use them as a gift. They're really good, beautiful packaging, and I can say from sending some to my parents, they're a big fan.
Yeah,
I don't drink coffee, but I am this close to buying some just to use for certain recipes so that I can support TPK.
100%.
You should. The coffee itself is really cool. The coffee is amazing. And if you want to learn a little bit more about their specialty product, Thieves' Cant, you can check out Murder and Coffee, our GM talk and advice show. We did a excerpt on it at the beginning of the episode, which we will cover later in this episode of TPR. But the packaging is also really cool. Every specific product they have has like 4 to 5 different runs of art that so like you could buy a bunch of Thieves' Cant and get a different art piece every time and like collect the art. It's really cool. So anyway,
that's why I buy coffee, for the collectibles.
I buy coffee for the art. So yeah, those are our announcements. Unless I'm forgetting something, Turk, let me know, or someone in chat, let me know if there's something I'm forgetting. This week's episode will cover the content between February 15th and February 21st. For the viewers, if any of you have any questions during the episode that you might want answered about some of the content, or just have something you'd like us to talk about, feel free to say so in chat. We will do our best to incorporate that into our discussions.
Hell yeah.
And now that we have all of the corporate shilling and pre-written things out of the way, how dare you, Cole? How about we dive into tonight's episode with our first question. Who's your favorite child show?
I don't know what that means.
So who's your favorite show, I guess? Who's your overall favorite of all the shows we have?
Oh, who is my baby?
Who's your baby?
My baby is Proper Parlor Games because it has literally my name in it, and I freak the fuck out every time I have to do a show. But every time someone does a show, my players come back and say that was the best fun I've had in a long
So
time.
much fun.
So
Oh my god.
that's my sweet little baby. It's super pretty. It looks completely different than all the other shows on the calendar because it's my style of art as opposed to the normal stuff. So
It's
that's my baby.
It is so good. I love that. I just love the opportunity you give to people to more thoroughly explore their characters. I will say for both Harper's and Sherlock, having that chance to more casually engage as a character has been really helpful in finding my voice, and I find that having these experiences has helped me more naturally set into the right mindset for getting into those characters. And that a big part of that is like, well, it's just a board game. We're hanging out, just interacting as people. What is that like when you're not, in the moment, And it's been really awesome to be a part of that so far.
Really don't get me started on it because I could lecture y'all for hours.
I mean,
but if we're getting real serious, I can talk about something that we're not going to talk about this particular episode, but I should shout out anyway because you've let me start talking.
Oh, 100%, please do.
Tales from the Loop was going to be a Patreon exclusive, and we decided that we wanted to let more people see that. So Tales from the Loop just released on YouTube, and I was in that, and I played a character named Cynthia, I think. I should remember that because we're continuing it next week. So she's a 15-year-old girl in the Tales from the Loop campaign, and it was a very cool, little chill session with Chrissy, who was the GM. And go check it out on YouTube if someone wants to throw the link in the chat. It's just a lovely time. And if the question is who's your favorite child in a weird twisted way, that is the youngest character I've ever played. So that's to you, Cole.
All right. Well, in that vein, my favorite child in regards to youngest character that I've played,
Jack.
It's Jack by default.
Yeah.
How old? Because Jack's from Ravencrest.
Jack's
right?
in Ravenscrest, and he's in high school, and I've never played a character younger than that. So, at least, no, I've never gone younger than high school. I've done NPCs that are younger, but not really.
I was gonna say, is your favorite child one of the kids from Sherlock?
Ooh, God, those guys are all very fun.
They all have names and backstories.
The Baker Street Irregulars. I will say there's 100% Cole's creations. I just come in and get ready to get hurt. But those guys are very fun because Baker Street Irregulars. They're a bunch of kids on a mission, and playing around with that has been very fun. But favorite.
Tyrant, you have 4 shows.
Yeah.
Which one's your baby?
Yeah. So really quick, my baby is TPR because it's the first long running show that I brainchilded and brought to fruition with the help of
your first
Mac and
child
Turk.
you pretend isn't your favorite, but really is your favorite.
Yeah. I also co-host for Murder and Coffee, which is my baby, but also the brainchild of Luca Lock. It's a complicated thing. Both are incredible shows, and I love running both of them.
It's like the kid that doesn't need as much attention, and then when they're they've gone to college, but when they're back, once a month, it's just all right, we need to really take care of them and really show them.
They're the one you miss the most when they're gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's like the one that goes off to college, right, and then comes back and you have extremely intellectual conversations with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then this one is the one that runs around the house with a pair of scissors and lights things on fire. But my favorite, I guess, if I'm doing favorite character as well, I will never stop promoting it. What happened to what in the world happened to Evie Ashwood? Charlie was only 4 years old, so he's
so you're competing with Chrissy for the young characters. I see.
Oh yeah, Ulta is pretty young.
How
Isn't
old
she?
was it Ulta? But also, who was the Harper's character that was really
Oh,
young?
Peaches.
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 Hmm.
Literally,
Peaches.
both are Chrissy.
They're both Chris. I think. Well, the thing is, I think you have to take into consideration fantasy aging rates, and kobolds are very young, fast living, and I think halfling. I want to say halfling.
Speaking of kobolds, we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to dive into tonight's content.
Do we? Because we're having a really good time talking about murder and coffee, and I don't want to really talk about the potential murder of Sherlock Holmes.
Listen, we can talk about murder and coffee when it comes to murder and coffee.
Right, but right now we're talking about the potential murder of a beloved fictional narrative character.
Yes.
With, of course, Sherlock Investigations. Kind of sorry.
With time, young Padawan.
Mm-hmm. So,
cool your jets.
So, as that clip just loads, Sherlock motherfucking Investigations. Guys.
Oh, right, because Sherlock's the first one.
Sherlock's the first one. It's on Monday.
Oh, it's Sherlock first, right? Okay.
So
I see where you're going now.
I slid. It's a very subtle transition. Just as subtle as Cole telling me during a break, "Hey, you're gonna be Sherlock now." I'm like, okay. Yeah. So Sherlock Investigations this time, I've kind of given away a big part of that. I got to sit in the big screen this time. I felt very special. Involved a first appearance of some new characters, as well as a real-life prop being thrown into the game. And, I mean, there's a puzzle that we actually managed to solve fairly quickly. Al's, obviously his personal life experience really came in handy here, and to his credit, he gave us all a chance to guess and try and figure it out, but he was very kind guiding hand to say no children, and so I actually want to jump into this clip because you can see it's very interesting. We solved the initial puzzle. Then, of course, came the problem of Chrissy having to open a real physical box on stream that she had never attempted before. And it created a really special moment that I think is kind of unique to TPK, where GM literally will send you something in the mail to open on stream for the first time. But yeah, this is it. Ooh, once it goes. All right, so we'll see if there's a hole somewhere you can stick it in.
That's what she said.
Yeah, well, try and stimulate this puzzle.
Maybe that's all it needs.
A little encouragement.
Keep trying to pull all those things out or something.
Or maybe you can run that around the edges of the bottom and catch something that like a finger couldn't get.
Jesus!
Hey!
All right.
Honest will start clapping.
So, I don't know if you could tell in there. Literally, the top of that box was stuck. It was unable, like Chrissy could not open it, and we were like, "Oh, is that part of like the puzzle box?" Just like,
was it a real puzzle box, or was it just stuck?
It's a real puzzle. The top is legitimately not part of the puzzle box, and it's literally like, oh, okay, this will go away, and like, okay, we'll have to open the top.
I will say, as much as I appreciate Cole's dedication to prop management, and he sent that out to Chrissy, and wow, what an incredible thing to do for your game, for your players. That was not a puzzle. So that was a box with a singular lever that was pulled, and the fucking slide came out. I see these puzzle boxes, don't get me wrong, it's obviously a puzzle box because you had to do things to manipulate it to open it. But have you seen some of the puzzle boxes out there that am I the only one? Listen, am I the only one? Every time I open up Facebook, I just have a million videos of like puzzle box openings.
Oh no, that is 100% my Twitter, my YouTube, and my Facebook. But Facebook is just that Chris Scott. Is it Chris Ramsey who just does puzzle boxes?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yes. Literally, that's my entire Facebook feed is just those videos now. It's him and the other guy who does magic tricks or shows you how to do magic tricks or something. Which is great because I don't open Facebook anymore, so it's just that and like random baby photos. It's not ideal.
During the actual opening of this puzzle box, I'm in the chat with my knowledge of like everything that could be going on here, and I'm like, unscrew things, unscrew things. She like pulled out a key. I'm like, you gotta unscrew the bolts. Obviously, like
it's much less complicated than that.
Yeah, it was much less complicated.
Well, I mean,
but I'm like,
it was a legit puzzle box. The problem was the top got stuck, so he had to get like a fork, which thankfully Chrissy had on her desk, to pop open the initial bit, and then it was a matter of like taking out the 2 bits to let the false bottom slide out. Yeah, I'll be honest. Most of my Facebook video links are just anime, so cannot relate. But it was very cool to be able to like have like a physical prop in front of you. I feel like it. I don't know. It was very interesting having Christine chat being like, like this box is burning a hole in my desk, and I need to have this session to open it.
I think my Facebook has decided that I am older than I actually am, because like it's all cute like animal videos, puzzle boxes, and chess, like grandmaster chess matches, which granted really interesting because they move at the fucking light, but I won't get into that too much. But yeah, no, I thought it was really funny. Luca was mentioning in chat when it happened that she had like told Chrissy either on screen or off screen that she was going to try to use her sword to open the puzzle box, and then Chrissy had to use a letter opener to open the puzzle box. So
I would have died if I had gotten the chance to do one of those because I fucking love puzzles, and puzzles are so hard to put into a TTRPG, and I just I wish I tried when I first tried GMing. I like made a cool map that was also a puzzle and like gave that to my players in person, and that's the kind of stuff we're missing in TTRPGs right now. If you get a chance to check out Luca Locke's DM's Guild stuff, there's a whole bunch of like pre-made or like really pretty like letters and posters and things that she has made in the past that you can like make look like old paper, and they are unbelievably pretty.
Yeah.
So we need to find ways to include that more in our games. I mean, we do have a lot of GMs who do really cool stuff, like the letter from last Sherlock that was the whole like puzzle in itself. But like finding good ways to do that on stream is really difficult.
It's difficult because they can be momentum stoppers, and I feel like you need to be mindful of the kinds of players that you have and how they are going to. I mean, like obviously, if a game had the 2 of you in it, 100%. Let's throw a puzzle at you guys. You can talk your way through it. Like you can RP in it. Like, but sometimes, I mean, you get a group and you throw a puzzle at them. Like this is from personal experience. I can say I had a Pathfinder game, and there was a box that we had to open by hitting runes in a language that none of us understood. And so the GM, he was like, I'm going to give you guys a taste of this frustration, where you have to pick the runes in the correct order without understanding what they mean at all. And you have 3 tries to do this before it completely resets. And every time you get something wrong, so like. And so we're sitting there being like, tap, we'll do this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this, like, working our way around. And it was just kind of frustrating, and it got really annoying, and it was just like, that killed, it was at least it was at the end of the session, so none of us had like a really bad taste in our mouths for the rest of it. It was just like, well, that kind of ruined the whole thing we had going. I mean, like, even the reveal, like, oh, it's got a severed head in it, it's talking to you. Like, that, like, was kind of dimmed by the physical puzzle we just interacted and struggled against kind of sucked.
At a certain point, you got to balance the, like, quote-unquote puzzle with the RP, because in my brain, especially on stream, it's all about RP. You can't do long, lengthy, mechanical fight scenes. You have to focus on the more RP intensive fight scenes. You can't do mechanical or crunchy or almost riddly kind of puzzles. You have to do puzzles that are in some way directly connected to the clues you've given your players, or have in some way you've like given them all of the like answers along the way, and this is them putting it all together. There's that kind of element that probably would work very well in our
I will say
stream.
you bring up a very good point about how streaming D&D and TTRPGs in general is primarily RP focused. I mean, some people tune in for wargaming, and they want to see your movements, and you saying, okay, and I'm going to attack here, that's to hit, and I roll this damage. And I realized, while we're doing, not to jump too far ahead, but with Bars of Fame, this is very much something that I encounter, because I'm trying to pre-roll stuff so I can flavor my attacks and my plans, so it's not just, and these are the numbers I roll. And that's tough, and that's something I'm worrying about for the next session I have coming up that I will actually be DMing. There is a large part of this that can get very grindy, because the person who wrote it is very into war games and is very into their deep strategy. It has RP built into it, but I am very worried about that the fights or potential fights that are coming in this adventure being a bit like, we need to grind and take something serious. The Tomb of the Kirin Prince is what Luke is referring to. I remember that one like the back of my hand, 'cause that was the first time we got drunk Nicholas Ignatius Darlow, which was a whole time.
It was also the first time I think we, at least the second wave of Harper's used give it your all, and you got the final kill on that.
I did. That was the first boss kill, yeah. And not the last, but yeah, no, that was one session. A lot of fun puzzles in that one. That I will say they felt difficult to figure out, but not impossible, because all the tools are in front of us, and while you're not actively RPing or moving around, you can be looking at all the clues. So it definitely, yeah. So as Luke is saying, it told the story, and the story, while being an engaging story, also told you everything you needed to know to progress through the tomb. And I think that's a good puzzle. It gives you the pieces you need and doesn't surprise you at the end like a murder.
That's what I'm saying. Is you need to give your characters hints and clues, or even the answers along the way to finishing the puzzle, as opposed to just figure it out.
Yeah.
Which I do love a good weird riddle. I have 40 of them at any time that I love telling, but in RP it's a little harder. But as Purple Phil and Cole said, I want to mention their comments too, is that that is actually one of, I have a lot of problems with skill checks. Again, don't get me started. I'll talk at you for hours. But that is one of the good ways that you could use those, is that one, if you have a good enough GM who can use a investigation check in the right way, you could use those skills that your characters already have and give them clues that way. Or I think, as Purple said, what was it? Hold on. Oh, it's partial success. So the idea that you're not railroad, a railroad within a puzzle would be a lot, because if there's only one way to solve it, then you're saying that and if you're saying that there's only one way to solve it, and you're not giving them other clues along the way, then it's really rough. But if you are there's different ways this could go, I could see that working out well. I've never tried it myself, but I could see that being interesting.
That is one of the downfalls of D&D, is that when your character becomes very good at something, because you want to be good at that as a character, it trivializes the event. And when you're not good at something, that skill sticks out like a sore thumb for you and makes everything much more difficult than it needs to be, because it is especially in situations where it's you need to pass a certain check to make this thing happen, you didn't build your character around, I don't know, survival checks, especially what was rotating one shot.
I stuck to Estelle's plus 17 to persuasion checks, and she never used it, but it was my pride and joy.
Oh, 100%. I 100% get that. I mean, I can't fully relate because investigation and perception checks are universally always incredibly useful to have. So having a character that has those maxed out, you will be using those a ton. But it is always a toss-up sometimes. And I would encourage if you're in a long-form campaign and your DM, not like is in that position where you feel like, hey, my character doesn't get a chance to shine in the skills that I'm really trying to build them around. Talk to your DM. Talk to the other players. Be like, hey, can we maybe try things this way? Can I convince you in character to allow me to parlay with the bad guy and see if we can get any more information out of them? Or like convince a few goons to join our side next time.
This is quickly becoming a murdering coffee conversation.
Oh,
I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
But
I feel like we should move on at some point.
The secret is this show's always just been murdering coffee, but in a sexy little dress.
This is Murdering Coffee After Hours.
It's always been Murdering Coffee.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, we do. Speaking of Harper's.
Yes, speaking of Harper's. Listen, I had a segue, and I was just like,
puzzles. Do you want me
to
say something about puzzles and?
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say an example of like a puzzle that probably was a little too much. Was the first puzzle in Ol'Bitey's Tower that admittedly we solved very quickly. I solved it, and I know Turk, you were hot on my heels.
No, I was not. But thank you.
Oh, okay.
I'm literally looking at this, and everyone's just like, "And you would have gotten it in a second." I'm like, no, I wrote this down. That was my accomplishment.
I got that, and of course my character takes a massive amount of psychic damage for it because he's not the one that would get that typically. But yeah, no, I think you have to be very careful about what kind of puzzles you put into games because it can be incredibly beneficial and it can be detrimental to the session overall.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Harpers, let's talk about Harpers, everybody.
More Harpers, always more Harpers.
More Harpers,
You're
more
here
Harpers.
for Harpers.
More Harpers. Listen, we've talked a lot about Harper Season 1 today already, so let's just kind of dive into this most recent episode of Harper Season 2. Hold on. The episode opens up in the hideout. Oh my God! Look at that! Look at that beautiful thing that is on your shoulder right now.
I know.
What?
It's my pain. It's for when. It's for when you get to the part that I'll be uncomfortable with.
Okay. We'll
be careful, Turk. I'm going to try to subdue it and accidentally kill it. So do be careful.
Don't worry.
Is Tony in chat? Is Tony in chat?
Tony's not in chat. I've not seen Tony yet. We're okay.
So Cornelia is safe for now.
Excuse me, you already said in the first half of the episode that like we are talking to Cornelia's corpse, so there's you could chill it on the spoilers there.
An alternative reality, we'll say.
At the very beginning of the episode, we started in the hideout. My character Luke, after the player Tyrant reading through all of the hideout description and stuff like that, I decided, hey, let's have Luke do this performance up on stage, this shadow puppet, shadowy figure thing. And so I had Luke kind of shadow mime, fire mime out the events of Harper Season 1 finale, which I thought was kind of a really cool picture, seeing everybody like do all this. And then I had to roll a charisma check, and I got it, and everyone gained inspiration from that. So I think we'll be doing that a little more. There's multiple things in there that we can use to gain inspiration for everyone. There's also a bunch of other really cool hideout effects and stuff that we can be using. So I'm excited to explore all of that. But shortly after the performance, this woman came in and was asking if anyone had seen her sister. Obviously, we had not, and so we got information, and it had been determined that the sister was probably somewhere up near this hunting lodge. That there was an old kind of story about it being haunted because this ghost, this being caused a bunch of aristocrats to commit suicide or kill themselves around or for her attention. And so we set off on the road, learning that we had a stable and a bunch of really fun Clydesdales that we could take out. And but we can't ride Angus. We can't ride Angus because we don't want beef with Angus.
Stop! I hate it.
I'm sorry. Moving on, we were on the road, and we find this captain with a cart just standing in the middle of the road. It turns out this captain has been transporting a sleeping boulette, and the boulette had escaped. And so we were talking, and this boulette came out of the ground and attacked us. We subdued it and put it back in the cart and made our way towards this lodge that the captain was also going to. Made it there, got inside, found the missing sister, figured out that the sister was totally fine and wasn't like under any enthrallment or capture or anything like that. We decided to stay the night there. In the middle of the night, Turk's character Ulrich was approached by this older woman. I don't know how to describe her other than older woman. I don't want to say hag because she's obviously not a hag, but
she is an old hag.
Hag.
Yeah, old dustbin.
And we were.
She was
led
a
outside.
grandma of some sort, wasn't she?
Well, a mother.
Yes, older mother.
Mother to the owner of this lodge, and we then met the owner, who turned out to be a Medusa, very nice Medusa, who did not turn us to stone, which is very kind of her. We went outside, and the mother had released Cornelia, the owlbear. And we were asked to clean up the situation, and we were we had in sync, just amazing sync combat for the Harper's crew. We dispatched with Cornelia very quickly. Unfortunately, the last two attacks on Cornelia were a little out of control, and instead of the plan of just subduing and knocking Cornelia out, she was instead incinerated and disemboweled. So, rest in peace, Cornelia. You will be missed. And to discerning viewers out there, you may not want to listen to this brutal, graphic explanation of Cornelia's death.
Just imagine the ASPCA commercial running in the background while you watch this next clip.
I want to do this thing.
She did this little chirping, clicking thing with her beak sometimes when she was happy and it was feeding time.
Why are you?
And she wiggled her little feather butt. She wiggled her little feather owl butt. Do you understand? She's dead, having been burned to death.
Can he not use non-lethal action?
Not with the amount of damage he did.
So yeah, that was rough.
But anyway, after going through that horrific, tragic loss, we then made our way north to a barn that we heard sounds coming out of. We opened the door and we found this mother, this old woman, slitting the throat of a cockatrice. and summoning a hellhound. Dev, she
Of
burned to
course-
death.
and of
She
course
burned
the-
to death. Burn to death, and then stab.
This is where the mechanics of D&D have a problem. It's like, I accidentally stabbed him so hard that I killed them, instead of doing what I intended, which was to, cut their leg.
Well, to be fair, I will say to be fair, if Tony had come in and, said, "Hey, I'm going to try and non-lethally gimp this character," you can declare that. But Tony said, "No, I'm going to stab into this. I'm going to stare into the owlbear's right into the owlbear's flank." So, and also Dev did set.
Heck and Tony are now mortal enemies. Now that he has killed a bird.
I'm not a big fan of him either. If he killed Cornelia.
Listen, the bear was also charred to a cinder, and the aggression, the smell of burning owlbear flesh sent Tarlo into a frenzy, man.
He smelt that. He smelt those
Dev
7
coming
secret
in with
spices.
claws.
Dev just loosing three bolts of fire at this 3 scorching white hot rays of fire at this owlbear, and then Tony coming in and just skewering poor Cornelia.
Hey Dev, do you ever consider that Tony wouldn't have killed Cornelia if you hadn't hit her with the flaming bolts? Do you think about that?
But we
I
should
can
also
take
consider
some of this. I can take some of this blame because I did also very drastically wound it with some arrows. So I can take some of the blame.
We all messed up. We all need to remember to attack non-lethally in the future.
We
all trusted old people. That was a problem.
Listen, okay, we need to get through the rest of this recap. She was on fire. This bird is on fire.
We did recap Sherlock.
We didn't recap Sherlock. We went into the woods. The plants were yelling at us to leave. There was a clever pun the whole time, and then I got to switch characters.
Recap Sherlock?
I did it. I did just did it
for
now.
25 minutes.
Rory is pure. Rory was going to rodeo a flaming owlbear while puking. I don't know how pure that is.
So that when Luke saw this hellhound and hag bag lady slitting the throat of a cockatrice and fired a shot at her, Rory fucking gave Luke the death glare, and then Luke blinked out of existence, being banished, and then fucking Mistral got finger of death, which is horrifying.
Yeah, he did.
Can we talk about this? Can we talk about how horrifying it is to see that level of a spell at level 4?
Oh,
they're level 4, Luca.
Yeah, no, really though. That is what level spell is that? That's a very high level spell.
That's like a 6th or 7th level spell.
To be coming and again, without Mistral's, the warded shield.
If he hadn't full health.
If you hit 0 with that, yeah.
If he hadn't been full health, if he hadn't had his additional spell protection, and if he hadn't succeeded on the saving throw, he would be dead.
He would be fingered to death. Yes.
He would be fingered to death and turned into an orgasm zombie because of the shocking amounts of pleasure and pain that racks through his body.
This dungeon bitch.
We have a Twitch TOS. Could you chill it?
No.
We streamed Dungeon Bitches.
We're gonna be okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hey, we're being very literal with the spell's description. That's all it is. Get your head out of the gutter. Almost like you're clocking notes. Oh, how dare you be a good DM, Luca.
I must mention that as soon as we found that cockatrice, the Harpers were like, we must save this weird chicken dragon. It must save us.
Well, it's like it was definitely a scenario where we're just like, oh, well, these animals aren't actually deadly. These are just, pets that are getting let out, or they're
It was
animals
the
that are being
most
let
Harper's thing ever, though.
Mm-mm.
You were like, no, the bird is more important than ourselves.
Let me run into this
Yeah,
room
they're
with
getting
enemies,
they're getting
grab the cockatrice,
fire.
and bring them out.
They're getting fire breathed on them. One of their party members is banished to a different dimension, and it's not until Dev gets fingered to death before they actually decide to do something. Sorry, Mistral gets fingered to death. Okay, well that's the recap. So
I'm so glad that Lucas made this comment, because in game I was like, I'm waiting for the cockatrice to just save us, and Luca Locke has just confirmed that Patrice the cockatrice was ready to save us, and I'm glad to hear that I was right.
Luca, what do you get off getting a character or introducing a character named Patrice the cockatrice?
She gets off while Mel Mistral is getting fingered to death.
By being the one to finger him. It's a very,
We're setting a very strange CPK universe lore here, and I'm not okay with it.
Look, it's
cool.
cool.
3 things: TOS, Chris Perkins' face, and phrasing. Three fingers.
Fantasy phrasing.
Yeah. Fantasy phrasing.
There's no such thing as a 3 necklace.
Right now is where I wish we had a stream deck and a button that would we could just press it, and the picture, the visage of Paul Blart Mall Cop on his Segway with my face on it would just drive through the screen.
I just asked Cole for this exact situation.
I'd be very down.
We will work on it.
We have the photo. It's there. Just need to crop it out in Photoshop, and let's give me what I need. We'll do this shit.
Does Pick and Face still exist on the interwebs?
Who knows? But hey,
all right, listen.
Or was it Face in Hole? Whatever the show.
I'm declaring it now. I'm declaring it now. We're gonna segue through this just debauchery, because we need to get to our third thing of the night, which is Roundhouse Whitebridge. And Roundhouse Whitebridge, for those of you who have not been paying attention, is getting crazy, y'all. It is nuts. Not only did my character the episode prior sacrifice himself, not in a death way, but in a sell your soul kind of way to save his friends and start the apocalypse. But we also now just fought the first herald of the first horseman of the apocalypse. Guys, what is going on? Roundhouse Whitebridge. It was really cool. Saint is doing it for this episode and next episode, or at least this episode and the next episode of Roundhouse Godswallow, which is the sister show over on Nat 20. Shout out to Nat 20. This past episode and this episode coming up are kind of like a flashback news documentary of the proceedings, the happenings that happened. And so it was a really cool media format for Saint to explore. The entire episode was we found this found footage of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. We have this interview of blah, 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 blah. And so it was really cool. We saw, the next months after Philip's disappearance, Philip and Ed's disappearance, Marty and Thomas, played by Last HP Hero and Osiris Franco, not respectively. It would be Marty as Sarah and Thomas as HP, I should say. Kind of coming into their own a little bit as a team, battling certain monsters and going through all of that. And then introducing my new character, Sir Richard de Ridefort. And since we're already being raunchy, if you don't think that I didn't see Luca's comment in the chat during the episode, I I don't know how I feel about Lucas saying Sir Dick Rider is the nickname of Sir Richard de Villefort. But we'll get past it.
Will you? Because you're Dick Rider now. Like
Dick Rider?
like Knight Rider, but
like Knight Rider. Yeah, okay. But no, he's a former Knight Templar that was frozen in time, and is now here and ready to
Nick
help
Cage
stop the
would be proud.
apocalypse. Yes, Nick Cage would be proud.
Nick Cage is proud.
Nick Cage is proud. The three meet. Thomas, Marty, and Richard meet and set off to summon Ed, or Aeschylus, the Duke of Hell, which I don't think we had heard your full title proper until this episode, so that was fun.
I've been thinking about it for a while.
Listen, I did
Plus,
not.
it was a what's it called? It was a promotion. So you know.
You did do a good job. You did a very good job.
He did a good job. I did not plan the name Purple. And Luca, get your mind out of the gutter.
I think she's.
But we summoned Ed. We trapped Ed with a magical snap bracelet, forcing him to stay corporeal and not teleport away. And then we set off to defeat Bazrael, the embodiment of war, first horseman of the apocalypse. The fight was spectacular. It was epic, and it culminated in a brilliant plan to use the same technology that pulled Bazrael to us, to then shoot him into the heavens over the holiest spot in the world. And we have actually live footage of the holiest spot in the world for you as our clip.
Love that intro. Very nice.
She moves and kind of slumps over in her chair and sighs to herself and goes, "Ah, another day, more good work." And Stacey Abrams kicks off her shoes as a pin of light above her home shines bright, the true holiest place. And that satellite makes a boo sound as that demon is sucked through.
I mean, is she wrong though?
She's not wrong.
No, exactly. Not wrong at all.
So, yeah, incredible finish to an incredible episode. I think multiple of us in the cast have said that that's like one of the best episodes we've had as TTRPG players,
including Saint.
Saint. So definitely go check that out if you have time. It's like the first episode of this part of Roundhouse, because I feel like we're thrusting the edge here, and like we're not in the rising action anymore. We're kind of in the climax of both campaigns. So definitely go check out Roundhouse Whitebridge and Roundhouse Godswallow over on Net 20 for whenever on alternating Thursdays. So if you don't have anything going on Thursdays, come check out Roundhouse just in general.
I do have a question for Proper, since we have him here, but I guess this also can get into that. But I just want to quickly say that you guys, holy shit, like the fucking bar that you guys put up every single week makes going into Thursdays on Nat 20 very fucking intimidating. Like the amount of drama.
How has Godswallow changed your life, Turk?
It's the amount of freedom you don't realize you have in the narrative.
Yeah.
I don't have like improv background or anything. I was stage crew. Like, you want to talk about, hitting buttons on a mic or light setup? Like, sure, let's go in on it. I haven't done that since middle school, but like, that was my thing there. Way too nervous to get up on stage and do any of that. Being able to be like, oh yeah, and by the way, I use hot talkies to cast magic, or just like being introduced, fucking bizarre shit. But that's even like in comparison to what you guys are doing, and being able to like watch you guys being like, hey, you see this drama level we're at? What if we just kept moving it up? What if we just that's better. What if we just a little bit higher? Yeah, no, get on a chair. Fuck it, get a ladder. Get a ladder.
I gotta say that Sarah's been pretty key in all this, because she is, again, spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to her in a moment for sure. But I really thoroughly enjoyed her ideas on Marty as a character. And so right from the beginning, Marty never really trusted Ed. And then just as it's gone on, we've gotten to this great point where not trusting Ed has become like a crux of the situation. And it's great because oh god, I'm not going to say my least favorite phrase in existence, but I'm going to try to say it well. I hate when people say I'm just playing my character. However, and Sarah actually brought up my own favorite phrase, which is, you're not just playing your character, just make your character choose something else. And so far in the campaign, Ed has been just playing to that idea that his goal is to bring about the end of days. And so that's what his whole connection with, why can't I think of Tyrant's character now?
Philip.
No.
Philip, yes. So his whole connection with Phil was that Phil is here to bring about the end of days. And so his whole character so far has been that growth. And that's what has really caused a lot of trauma with Marty's character, about trying to fight against that. And I think it's been nice, the little snippets from each episode where Marty and Ed have been kind of like, Marty's like, we're superheroes. And Ed's like, are you sure? And I think it really came to a nice conclusion in this, not conclusion, but a nice point in this episode where we have two characters that don't want to work together, and we need to find a way as players that they do. And so a lot of HP and Sarah working together kind of created this idea for the episode. And of course, then Saint just like went off, and Saint every episode these days just be like, hey, by the way, this episode doesn't work unless you're really great at role playing and just improvising stuff. And we've been like, we got you, Saint. And so Sarah put like that idea together of summoning Ed, but it's now we have to shift forward and continue to think, okay, what is the reason that Aeschylus continues to work with Roundhouse? And I'm really looking forward to how that develops.
Yeah, that was a big question going in, and it was very, it was very fun. I'm being like, talking with whoever I could from that group, being like, how the fuck are you not changing your character after everything that has happened? And what I really want to get in and ask, because like I think you fairly well addressed that question, is like, you're making it work through improv and RP decisions. You're both just being like, rather than take a hard line on the character, we are going to advance with the narrative and accept the reality that the other person is introduced, and work together. And I think that's been incredible to watch. But I mean, how?
But
like,
it also sorry.
Oh no,
ask
go
your
for it.
question.
Go for it. I mean, what I really want to know, I want to kind of dive in because you might answer this in your explanation. I mean, Ed is an antagonistic force in the overall narrative, and I mean, you have that from the start. Obviously, everyone else in your group wasn't able to listen to the audio clips that were playing, but right from the get-go, this has always been the plan, the apocalypse. And it's like, I find it, I think it's such a huge load to take on, to be like the secret, like to be like you're not even a secret bad guy. You're not even like I'm an awful evil character and I will turn on the party at the exact right. you're up front. You're like, hey, the world's gonna end. We're gonna help it happen. It's your destiny. You know, you're straight up like Palpatining, but right out in the open. You know, you don't need the tragedy of Dark Plagueis or whatever. You're there. You're just like, hey, you're destined to do this, man. Hey,
I think what's
good. How do you do that? Like,
I think what's really great is something that obviously people didn't see is session 0, where we sit down and we discuss our characters and how they are connected. And so what I'm really enjoying in a way that, like, sure, people make like elaborate backstories in D&D, but you don't often think about how either your team came together or how you're connected before you become a team. And it's something that I think that TTRPG players could actually take from other systems is the way that you set up characters in Monster of the Week is that every person has a connection to each other. So I have a connection to you and you have a connection to me. And then I have a connection to Tyrant and the Tyrant has a connection to me. And so they're simple ideas. They're like little one-liners that are like pre-written in the book, but they work together to create like a backstory that's really interesting. And that's again the secret that kind of Marty pulled out was that Aeschylus owes Marty for saving his life and whatever that means to be a demon. And so that's one of the reasons that we pulled is a backstory part that we hadn't discussed previously, is that, like, well, we mentioned it a little bit that like Marty knew Aeschylus or knew Ed before coming into Roundhouse, and that's why Marty trusted him to begin with. And that's also where it got pulled away, is that like this guy that I thought was just like a normal guy ends up being so much worse than I thought. But and so we played on that narrative that we had decided ahead of time, which was great to actually have that incorporation of the backstory. But to talk about your like how to be an antagonist, I don't normally like playing antagonist characters. I tried really hard with Herman Solace to be like a quote unquote evil character. I ended up just being a dad because that's all I know how to play. But
it's so easy to fall into that role.
It's all Saint's thing. I gotta say is that Saint has through and through just been like, yes, I like where this is going, yes. And I evidently have been playing into his story pretty well so far. But even still, he threw that curveball right in the middle that I was not prepared for. So we'll see how that gets resolved soon. I know you don't want spoilers, but there is a lovely curveball that Saint throws in right before intermission, and it was I didn't know how to respond, and then Saint was like, "Okay, you don't get to respond. Intermission's done." Dude, that was lovely to play with, and so I think playing the antagonist is great because you're playing as best to your character as you can and not worrying about consequences really. But it's gonna create something that's really interesting, is that like if Roundhouse is the good guys, then there has to be a way that Aeschylus just makes it to joining them as the good guys. And those kinds of transitions can be really, really fascinating in a narrative storytelling. So it's going to end up just being, as I always say, just make your character make that decision. And you don't have to like, I don't see Aeschylus as Aeschylus will stay on point as character as long as it makes sense. And then when we get to a point that it doesn't, I'm sure a narrative point will come up that'll like change Aeschylus forever. And so I don't have a problem with changing my character. It's just about incorporating that in with the rest of the story that makes sense. So
I will say it, like, from my perspective of joining this group so late and feeling so fucking honored to be like, hey, can I do some things on Nat 20? It was like, you want to join Monster of the Week? I'm like, that's a whole thing. I've been watching you guys on Roll20 and Nat 20, and I guess it is on Roll20, but Nat 20 and TBK, and like that's like intimidating. That's a big drop, and having this newer character, and I don't know. I say this with all the love in my heart for Godswallow. I love that crew. We are a bunch of wholesome idiots who punch our problems away. Usually. But it feels like Whitebridge is the narrative push right now. Like, we tied in, sure. You know, the Vonta Black CD disc, that's 100% on us, the repercussions there. Like, but it, like, right now, and I mean this in like the best way possible, like, this is kind of Whitebridge's story, and, you know, and the end of it all, we'll be there. We'll be like the fun sideshow, rolling in with the two shape changers, a dude wearing, well, there'll be two dudes wearing full armor now, I guess, and you know, Sarah trying to pull two characters, and I guess I'll try and throw a spell in there and be weird and eat shit again.
Listen.
I will train you, young Padawan.
Yeah,
the ways of the dark evil.
Well,
magics.
I will say I have a connection through my moves to Devil. So, like, you know, we already have that built
I think
in.
that's gonna be a big part of it, is that because Saint knew that both sides of the story were going to be happening at the same time, he definitely were like, what are the connections? We have two like demon characters. Let's really go into that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what really helped, is that he knew what was happening, so that like he could bring in those connections. I actually haven't watched a whole lot of Godswallow, but I need to go back and like watch it for real.
You have a character who's, every time they spend fate, actively harbors a sign of the apocalypse, and Ash is like, I want to spend all my fate, and we're just like, please no. At least that's the sessions I've been in thus far.
Esclus has used a single point of luck the entire campaign so far.
Haven't touched it yet. Fuck the Council of Wizards. I'll say that.
I have to say that Roundhouse and Monster of the Week is the one campaign so far that I will definitely 100% always be fine with chaos. Because those kinds of, like, if you get a bad roll and things and shit happens, that's so interesting. So much more interesting than like D&D, where like, oh, you don't get it.
Yes,
like
there's an effect if you fail.
Yeah,
it's not
I mean, yeah, yes, you can do that in D&D, but the fact that it's like baked into the rules is just so good.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, yeah, it's great. Again, because Saint will say this all the time. He has no power unless the players fail. He can't move his narrative that he wants to move forward in like the bad guy way if players. It's a beautiful system for telling it's the story, and I think it captures its genre so well.
It was in the middle of this session that I was like, I need to DM more Monster of the Week. I need to be the GM again, because this was such a good session that I was like, I need to experience this again.
And you get ideas. You're like, yeah. I could tell this story I've been thinking of in this system and have it accurately come forward. I get that. And I think that's a more Power of the Apocalypse system, being, you know, the half successes and everything. That's 100%.
Are we at about a halfway point here?
We are. Mm-hmm. What were you saying, Turk?
No, we are. I was confirming.
Yes. No, we are getting to a halfway point, so we are going to take a really quick break. We'll be back in 5-ish minutes, and then we will talk about all of the other incredible content that has transpired on TPK's channel in the last week. But until then, refill your drinking glasses, mugs, cups, whatever you need to, and hashtag hoods up.
Hashtag hoods up. All right. See everyone. I'm doing okay. I'm good.
Yeah, Proper. How are you?
Oh no, we are live. Hi, that was a cold open. You gave me a thumbs up, and I'm like, all right, good. I can pull trigger on this cold open. I planning. I didn't catch anyone saying anything embarrassing, but
we should have just started with such a great joke you made, Turk.
And that's not my.
Welcome back.
I said that's not my knee. That's my aunt. Yeah. Welcome back. Total Party recap. No, you good?
No. It'll never be good after that.
Was it an actual
that joke?
I need to know the setup.
There, you know. It was what I was telling you guys during the break, naturally.
You need to know, and you ought to know.
Hey, fuck you.
But hey, speaking of things that don't make any sense, let's jump right into Top Shelf, eh? Because we had a very interesting session with 0 dice rolls, all improv, and an all-star cast ready to handle both those facts with the easiest of ease, because I almost forgot to say most of ease. But, there you have it. Because we were playing through Iron and Lies this Friday, and having a great time of it. As natural, the cast is looking fucking spectacular. And we had a freaking banger with not only Fazul and Fantasy Ecology, who of course I'm forgetting.
Zeke
Gonzalez, thank you. Zeke Gonzalez, who has made so many of our Harper's maps, and Fazul, who has run a bunch of really amazing one-shots, as well as making a fantastic adventure of the Mad Mansion of Astabar. We are also joined by the ever-incredible Noir Enigma and our very own Osiris Franco, which I don't really think we can honor at this point, because she's doing so many of her own fucking things. That's like, well, shit, fam. So yeah, this was a really interesting session and a very interesting system. A bunch of people from a local college, 2 students, a professor, and a lunch lady at a barbecue randomly get transported to the Feywild, to the Uncourt, and are accused of uncrimes, and must find their way back home through various deals and gambling. And right off the gate, someone loses all the blood in their body, but it's fine. Having
Is it though? Is it fine?
In this setting? Because the Feywild is all full of fuckery? Yes. It turned out everything was okay with that situation. And they had to fight their way through. Not fight, but talk and negotiate and lie with half-truths their way through against Fey. That was the entire session. There was no combat. There was no boss at the end evilly, explaining how he had tricked them all. There was just the Fey. And the Fey were trying to take everything they were worth, take everything they had, and offer them deals to their own detriment. And it was a very fun system. So before I jump into why I think the system is great, I just want to show a quick clip to show just the absolute fun that everyone was having, and just kind of the level of debate you could expect between the players and GM, in this session, as the GM represented the Fae and the players are just trying to get the fuck out of there. It's going to load eventually.
Do you swear on that?
On what?
That you'd give your owner just to see him?
Well, the real him.
Well, I don't know, I can make it work.
So that it's a very little thing. It's a very little thing, but you can already see, hey, well, for one, everyone's having a good time. But two, it's all half-truths and lies and, what you're willing to falsely give up. I mean, it was a wonderful system, and I think it's been brought up in kind of in the after show, and I say from my own experience on Top Shelf playing Necronautilus, this isn't just a good system on its own for a one-shot, but it'd be very interesting to see this supplanted and put into a campaign when your characters are dealing with the Feywild. This is a very accurate portrayal of the kind of two-faced, double-worded dealings that you can expect when your characters are in this place that is built on deception and trickery. But not straight up deception and trickery, a false truth deception and trickery, half-spoken words, snide, small, details in the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and by the way, you lose your soul and all the blood in your body kind of thing. And I think it's a really fun thing to play around. We were just discussing Monster of the Week and how that gave you a lot of narrative power. And I think both with this and Necronautilus before, it gives you a very good way to explore kind of a character and how they actually negotiate. You don't roll to persuade or roll to deceive. You make deals. You say, you can take this, but I need something of equal value, which I don't think you have. And, you know, there's a lot of moments like that. And it's a very interesting system to dive in on. And I would encourage everyone to go check out the stream as well as Iron and Lies itself. Just the system as a whole is, of course, another really good one. And I don't think it's a system we would have seen without Top Shelf. So, you know, I'm glad for that. But you know, now I feel like I have another tool in my toolbox, so to speak. Which,
speaking of tools in your toolbox,
yeah, honestly, yeah.
that is a perfect transition there, Turk. Thank you for that soft pitch.
Did I plan that?
I think so. We're transitioning here, obviously, to Murder and Coffee, our GM talk and advice show. And this week, Sarah and I had DMF Saint, the amazing DMF Saint, incredible GM, variety streamer, player for all. You know, he makes his rounds around Nat 20 and TPK.
As well as
had him on to talk about acting and improv in TTRPGs, and he has a very very cool story of and background in acting. He went to school for acting. Actually went to school in New York, an acting school in New York, and grew up his entire life acting. So it was really cool to kind of pick his brains on certain things. And to be completely honest, I don't even have to do the recap for this episode because Saint is so good. He essentially is going to tell you right now what this episode is about. So go ahead and take a look.
This particular episode of Murder and Coffee is it's a couple fancy new tools that you can add to that toolbox that you might never pull out. Or you could decide they're your new favorite tool and I'm going to use it as much as I can. But it's just that. It's a tool to help you have the experience and the story that you want. But again, like, we're doing shows for the internet. We're doing shows for people to consume as entertainment. And so, like Ty said before, trying to compare something like Critical Role to a home game, it's not a comparison. They are telling a narrative story. There's an act 1, there's an act 2, there's a crescendo, there's a denouement, there's like a structure to it. Whether or not they're obvious about it or not, it is happening behind the scenes. I guarantee it.
God, yeah. He's not a guy to bandy words. But
no, he's very he loves what he does, and he had a lot of interesting things to say during the show. Once again, Murder and Coffee is meant to be an educational show. Pretty much everything that we have put out there so far on Murder and Coffee can be used as an educational tool for GMs, for writers, for players.
What is one of the things that he mentioned during this episode that you really, really enjoyed? I didn't get a chance to watch this because God knows I don't wake up before like noon. But
it is a Saturday. I can't blame you for that.
What was one that really stuck out to you?
I mean, if you don't have one, I have something.
Oh, by all means, Turk, go ahead.
So
how dare you respond?
How dare I have an idea prepped that I was going to talk about? But something that really hit me as a player and as someone who has constantly been watching other people's streams and especially like Nat 20 and anything that Saint runs and his characters and being like, really fully now leading into the show aspect of Twitch games. I realize I haven't been putting in enough homework, so to speak. Yeah, and that's something that Saint brings up. You have to do the work and figure out your character, you need to know, not necessarily always how you're going to respond to any given stimulus, but know the truths about it and get ready yes and. That is my biggest hurdle. I will say this right now. I'm not very good at yes anding. I can maybe do a yes, but I sometimes, though, I 100% don't even give the yes. As a player, that has been my biggest thing to come over because I am so focused on being successful, like having everyone live, making sure we don't trigger any traps, making sure we're able to save the person we're supposed to save. Like, you know, we'll jump to this later, but hearing like, oh, well, you could have saved so-and-so at this, it's like that infuriates me on a personal level because I want to do all the things right. But that's my personal experience.
Cornelia.
Well, exactly. 100%. The fearing like, hey, Cornelia wasn't an enemy, just a very riled up creature, like hurts me to my core, being like, not only because the character is named for a animal companion that I had in a previous campaign with Sir Ekalot, who is very near and dear to my heart, and is the reason I have this lovely dice bag in the shape of an owl bear, but also because there was a way, and I immediately in my mind like there was a way to do this better. And what I need to do, and I've been doing this ever since the Harper Season 1 finale, Part 1, is like recognizing, yes, there were better ways, tactically speaking, I could do things, and this stream really hammered it home, but like the decisions I made were because I was in character in those moments and chose to focus on or do a different thing, and I just need to accept it, and I need to like, I don't know, it was very much a hammering in of being like, you need to accept other people's agency and allow them to do a crazy thing and just roll with it and just accept that. And the scene you set up being like, oh yeah, no, wow, wow, look at how tall that building is. It's like, yeah, no, they built it in a year. It's like, adding to the scene, and it's that was really the part that stuck with me, is how to be a better player and how to dig in to the truth. And as I've been like asking a bunch of people in the games I'm in, being like, hey, like what is a detail that you have that like you've picked up about my character that you want to know more about? Like what have I been letting on that's interesting to you, and how do I like work around that? But also like, I don't know, just being like more accepting of people saying and doing weird and crazy things. And that's on me to do on a personal level and accept.
And it's not to say that you have to let whatever stupid, crazy ideas some other players may choose. That's where no but comes in. And yes, if another player gives you an idea that isn't going to break the system, then go along with it, just because why not? And that's why I keep saying, just make your character make that decision to do something. And that should always go along the lines of, I want this story to progress in a fun and interesting way. I don't really enjoy characters who are crazy just for the sake of being crazy. So like, if they give you a ridiculous thing, you can say, no, but we can do this. Or if they give you something that's like straightforward enough to go with the story, you say, yes, and we're going to do that.
And this is why I'm glad we have you here, Proper, because you have the experience in this to talk about. And I again, that's a personal burden of mine, and I think I'm gonna call it out right now. Hey Cole, I know you're watching this later on in the week. I love you. Colin initially has driven me insane with your willingness to throw him into dangerous situations, and me being like, no, my precious boy. But it's been very healthy for me as a player to be like, we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna build those moments, because the fact is I've been thinking about this, like, and not to jump on Dark Echoes, but as an example, grabbing that orb in the Death House created a really powerful and intense moment. And if we were just carefully traipsing around that dungeon and being like, that's a trap, encounter no danger whatsoever, it would not be as engaging as it was. And I think that is something I need to accept, is that like the absence of obstacles or rather, a story is good and engaging when the characters face challenges. If everyone does everything perfectly and serves the narrative you have in your head, then you'll never be surprised, you'll never be challenged, and it won't feel as good in the end.
We need to lower Turk's meta just a little bit so he can settle into the game, but not too much that he's reckless and crazy.
I just care about everyone's
Remember
precious
that you're
crush.
a player, but don't forget that you're a character.
100% yes. I just care so much about I recognize how much thought and care can go into character creation, and like people will talk endlessly about like I love this character. Oh, they're like me, and I'm like fuck, they have to live now. I don't want you to be sad. But that's my head. But yeah, 100% you're right. I don't know, like, I'm tired if you have something else you took away from that. It was literally just
Yeah, no, I just kind of circling back to Proper's initial question. So many things we talked about. I think the one thing that comes back, just the one thing that I'd like to bring up, because it is a lot of what improv is based around, it has been already discussed. It's the yes, and the principle of yes and yes but, and then Saint likes to use the depiction of the bouncing ball back and forth between two people or a group of people. If you bounce, if you're doing improv, each scene should seem like you're bouncing a ball back and forth between 1 to 2 or 2 to however many people. And if that ball stops bouncing, then the scene dies. And so you need to make sure that you are actively able to intercept and receive, think as quick as possible, and then send out information right back at the person who you're doing the scene with. So that's really where the yes, and then you add your own stuff, or the yes, but this other qualifying piece of information comes in. But I think we should. We're getting a little low on time, so I want to get to our last bit of show here.
yes.
And
As much as I wanna go
dive
off.
into the Bard's Refrain.
Okay, yeah. So the Bard's Refrain. I mean, if you haven't been following this along, this is our musically inspired campaign that has gone so far beyond the musically inspired title, so it's become its own full, complete story. And yeah, it's kind of evolved into this grand narrative that is, well and truly engaging. And I don't know how to properly to start, because it's all so interconnected with previous sessions, and the fact that each session, of course, has a musical inspiration kind of speaks to the talent of the GM, Zarek Svenko. And I'm very fortunate enough to play in this game, and so I can tell you that this session we pick up immediately where we left off last, and we are encountering probably the BBG of the campaign. And in short, we're not ready. There was a hostage situation. There's a lot of things that hurt us. We are very nearly down several times. But we also find out this grand truth about our characters, that we are connected to a larger narrative that's apparently repeating itself, and that we have been exhorted to break the rhythm, whatever that means. That something has been occurring over and over again, and that we need to do something about it.
It's almost like that's the definition of a refrain.
Oh shit! If I knew musical terms in history, I would be a lot better of an analyst.
Refrain, noun, plural noun, refrains. A repeated line or number of lines in a poem or song, typically at the end of each verse.
Well, we've been
It's
trying.
all coming together.
It's all
I
coming
have
together.
The red yarn behind me. It's all happening, folks.
Dude, if this campaign has highlighted one thing for me, it's not only the talent and thought process that goes into our into it, because the amount of work that not only Sarah but also, of course, the producer credits to Tony Steffens puts into this campaign is astounding. But also the players have I can say I've personally put in a whole lot of backstory work that has really paid dividends. And I don't know, I feel like because we see the DM putting in the effort, we as players feel like we not necessarily need to, but will be rewarded when we do. And that's a very good feeling, and it leads to very deep RP moments that we had in between combat. I mean, primarily this session was combat. I will say that right now. You know, if you want to see us quietly sit down and explore our characters, I don't know if this is the session for you. I think this has moments that allow you a peek in the curtain, but a lot of it was fighting, a heavy RP, right back into a cinematic moment. And so just to give you a... Well, here's this is a reaction to a bad table. It kind of... This is a fun clip. I'm sorry. Like, you know, we clip the fun stuff. And so it's not really capturing the dramatic tension. I could have gone with a different clip for that, but, you know. I think we as players were very comfortable and familiar with our characters, and it allows for the creation of things like we can't say caw-caw.
Bootstraps, we cannot say their name.
Who the fuck is they? Fucking Lily up here on my shoulder, or fucking Bird? Or fucking
No,
Bill?
we can't say that!
Fucking what? What?
We can't say that! We can't say that!
Oh, you can't say
Alright?
fucking oh,
no.
that's a real
What the
fucking
fucking
thing.
The fucking thing that goes that is also this person's
fucking
name.
So that's fun. It's fun to do. It's fun to be the angry person. I'm sorry, is Osiris Franco in this chat right now?
No, she is not.
Okay, good, because she's on a stream. But 100%, yeah, you're on her shit because you have more musical knowledge than I do. But yeah, it's really fun to small moments like that where you get to really dig into that. Yeah, Bird gets hit with a lot of bad tables, but they create really good dramatic moments. You know, everything bad that has happened to Bird, Lukalog reacts amazingly to, and it works into this grand tapestry of sadness, and it all kind of works out. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen next, and to kind of go back to something that Saint commented on in Murder and Coffee, there's a whole lot of trust in Osiris Franco to carry this narrative to a conclusion that we will all find very satisfying. And
I remember she was telling us in person, in private, that basically, like, she'd started as like, this will just be a bunch of one-shots that are not at all related to each other, and that it just worked out so well that she was like, well, I guess it's a campaign now.
100%. I remember, yeah, that first one shot where we're just like, we need more, which is always the case usually with one shots. From what I've experienced on Twitch, is when they just work. There's just an
I get it.
need.
I'll make more City of Mist. I promise. Eventually.
Hey, but there's a part 2 that we need, and it was a really fun system, and no one has stopped watching them ever. But seriously though, yeah, exactly. City of Mist is a great example. When a one shot works, it just works, and people want more. And while like it may feel like you can't, catch lightning in a bottle twice, I don't know. I think that's the beauty of what we've made here on TBK. I say we in a very, like, I am not lightly involved. I am like here, but it's a whole lot of other people doing a whole lot of other really hard work behind the scenes to make this work, such as Proper and Tyrant here as staff members. And Proper making these absolutely fucking beautiful intros, and they just overlays and everything, and Luke of course making a whole bunch of beautiful overlays and all that, and like a whole
You're
lot of
part
work.
of it, Turk.
Well,
Don't
I'm
feel
not
bad
discounting
about saying
my part.
You are an important part of this group.
Of course, I have done my part, but in comparison, I want to give you guys a shout out for doing a bunch of beautiful stuff. But like, that's the beauty of what we've made at TBK is when there are these one shots, people lock on to it and can really be like, I want to see more of this content. And you know, it sucks when it, you know, you can't make it happen, but when it does, I mean, I've never seen a one shot become a full campaign and been disappointed by continuing sessions. I'll say that. Like, I've never seen anyone be like, I'm going to run a one shot, and everyone go, we want more. And, you know, the following sessions have not lived up to the hype, so to speak. Like, I don't think that's happened. So,
yeah.
This campaign is a major testament to that, and 100% encourage you to check in on the entire series of Bard Refrain, obviously, to understand why the characters are where they are, and why my face is covered red, and why my beard is still lightly copper on the left side here. But you know, it's an incredibly run campaign with, you know, some incredible people who are willing to throw themselves into the narrative, and also I'm there and I make loud person, you know, jokes to break the tension between those things, and it's, you know, it's a really good time. I can say it as a player and as a person who's rewatched it, it's a lot of fun.
It was a pleasure to watch the absolute chaos that happened.
Plus, you started so high energy, so much tension right from the very second you started. I was like, what's happening?
It is very much, you need to watch the previous episode, or you know what, you need to even watch maybe even the episode before that, because it's been hinted at what is occurring through a certain character's interactions for a little bit, and you know, of course it's Saint. So watching the whole series, you will see the parts connecting early, and this definitely feels like one where we've taken a step back and looked at the painting and been like, okay. Not to say the God painting, that's a very different painting.
I was gonna say the literal painting, or
but like, you know, we've been like coloring in sections, and now we've stepped back and we're getting a better idea of the full picture, but there's still so many questions.
Is Azuth okay with you coloring?
Azuth is just fine, okay?
Okay.
Just Azuth is fine.
Okay. Well, hey everyone, that is all of our content and all the time we have. Thank you so much for watching. Proper, thank you so much for joining us this week for this episode. Proper, before we dive into this next the content for next week, do you have anything coming up that you'd like to promote?
Lots of stuff. I mean, next week you won't see a lot. You'll see me in Killer Kobolds, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second. But beyond that, the only thing you'll see is, one, I made the overlay for Queen's Gambit, and two, I'm going to make the overlay for Towards the Farthest Dawn, which is happening on the 27th. So look at my pretty stuff there, but you won't see me again on screen until the 4th, which you'll see me in Roundhouse, and then Proper Parlor Games, and then Top Shelf. So,
question, if you're allowed to say this, I mean, which crew is being given the chance to jump on Proper Parlor Games this time?
I think we almost have it locked down that it's going to be the Alien crew, or at least part of the Alien crew. So we'll try to find some space games.
Hell yeah.
Nice. I would reach out to Saint if you're looking for tabletop games, because
we have quite a few already, but I'm sure he is. We are trying our best to put together an episode for Roundhouse after season 1 ends, and he's already like, hey, here's 16 different games that I think you might like. And I'm like, there we go, good job, Sam.
That sounds about right. Yes, I would love to play. If we did a Roundhouse game, I'd love to bring my one of my characters and have
see if
my
Philip
character
lives.
beat Saint. Well, if Philip doesn't live, maybe Richard will live. So,
Maybe.
So yeah, let's go through this week's content really quick. Tomorrow will be at 5 p.m. Pacific. You've been waiting for it for a long time. It was a community channel point reward campaign that we had, and now it is coming to fruition. Our 15-player Killer Kobolds from Outer Space game, where Luca is going to kill us in amazingly funny and disturbing ways. I've been reprised on a couple of the ways she plans to kill us, and it's going to be fantastic. Please come watch us be just the best kobold boys and girls, and it's gonna be amazing. On Tuesday we have Beyond the you know what? I went through the entire episode without getting much mouth. On Tuesday we have Beyond the Undergrowth, our Tomb of Annihilation campaign, DM'd by the incredible Tony Steffens, who is not in chat tonight, so I'm not going to inflate his ego too much.
Well, hold up. I'm gonna gas my boy up. I want to gas my boy up. It's a great campaign. It's an adventure. You have two new players coming to a situation that seems kind of fucked, so we're gonna see what happens.
Yes. For those of you
bet his ass he can.
For those of you who don't know, we had two players leave the campaign. Proper and Colt left too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Cole is also leaving.
And we will have two new players, Luca Locke and Chrissy, Callie numbers in chat, joining the campaign, and it's going to be amazing. I'm very excited for it, and it's going to be really cool. Mm-hmm. On Wednesday, we have the return of Darkest Night, Brightest Light, our further in Curse of Strahd campaign. Mm-hmm. Turk, do you want to? Since you're Barovia man?
I am Barovia boy. Thank you, because I love alliteration.
Get it right.
How dare you try to assign me in a further long age? But yeah, they will be dealing with the aftermath of this last session, which had a really tense character moment. But you know, with the wonderful Wizard of Wine, we'll see what happens with the conclusion of that, and everyone's new magical artifacts, and you know what will happen with Noir's character. Like, is anyone gonna get with Uther? It feels like everyone wants a piece of Uther. I touched on this in the Valentine's Day episode, but you know, my ship is everyone trying to get with Uther. So we'll see. I mean, it feels like we're all ramping up and getting ready for something big. So tune in and find out what they do in this dark land.
On Thursday, we have the return of Queen's Gambit, our Tyranny of Dragons campaign, and with a beautiful new overlay designed by Mr. ProperNerdy himself. That's going to be really cool.
Cold Hands is also my overlay, so you can also look at that pretty design.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Speaking of, Friday, we have Cold Hands, Warm Hearts, our Rhyme of the Frost Maiden campaign. You know, we haven't seen Ol'Bitey recently, and we saw him on Valentine's Day for just a quick second, but you know, he must be busy. I wonder how he's doing. We're gonna have to check in on him, and I'm sure we'll see some of him at least on Friday. On Saturday, we have another doubleheader.
I'm not ready to be hurt again.
On Saturday, in the morning, we have the return of Dark Echoes, our new Curse of Strahd campaign. We are in the village of Barovia, and we are going to be leaving the village. No, we haven't just left. I think we're leaving. I think there is an important distinction there, is that we have not
left
made it
the
out
house?
of the town.
We left the house. Yes, finally.
Yes, we've been out of the house for 2 episodes now, thankfully.
We got out of the church this last session.
The church. Actually, it's not the church.
It's just a church.
What?
How disappointing.
I mean, it's a it's one of the churches. Sure, it's not the church. And Saturday night we have a very special treat for everyone. Toward the Farthest Dawn, a Starfinder one shot, GM'd by Foxy. And it is, let me read the description for you guys real quick. A special event stream in celebration of Black History Month. TPK Roleplay's own young_Foxy II as game master in an all-black cast one-shot using Starfinder tabletop role-playing system. It's going to be cool.
It's going to be really cool.
Real fucking cool.
Starfinder, if you're familiar with Pathfinder, is the very same kind of system, which will bring a whole lot of fun. Foxy's incredibly passionate about the system. He loves the setting. He's all about the sci-fi. So I mean, this is 100% going to be someone who loves running this kind of system and game, putting absolutely all their love and care into this. I mean, you know it's going to be good because Foxy's been really nervous about it, which is a recipe for success.
Yes. And then on Sunday, we have
this very weird little show that we've never heard of before.
It's really strange. It's like Diet Murder and Coffee.
Diet Murder and Coffee at night with the Goofball Squad returning once again. Your boy,
What's up, demons?
And yeah. That's what we got this coming up week. Keep watching the content. Go check us out on TikTok. If you have TikTok, we have a TikTok account now, and we'll be posting pretty much every day. I've been letting it slack for the last couple of days, but we have like 8 or 9 TikToks out there already. So already getting some traction. So go like up all of that good TikTok content and join us next week for TPR if you can't make the episodes in person.
Or just if you want to hang out.
Or if you want to hang out. Yeah, we're always here. We're always goofing.
We love your faces and the things you guys say in chat.
You know, new boot goofing. Yeah.
Just new boot goofing, you know.
Just new boot goofing. Yeah.
Are you okay? Are you?
It's yeah. We should be fine, you know. John Bond's strong, but Bames John's just strong hoving. But yeah, please stick around as we
Bond's name, James' name.
but yeah, we'll be heading over and raiding Nat 20 in their Morningstar camp.